Hi, we will talk today about Bitcoin fork, the hard fork that is coming on November 16th, 2017. The Bitcoin fork, or Segwit2x, is a very important split happening in the Bitcoin world, and it seems to be a mystery online. Not a lot of information that give you a clear understanding of what is the fork or who is behind the fork and who will be benefit from this fork. I did a little research and I wanted to share my information with you. Let's talk about Bitcoin blockchain technology. Since Bitcoin uses blockchain technology, think of the blockchain as cryptographic keys that moves the memory and organize the memories in a certain way according to rules. The rules that they control the memory moving is set by the miners. So in order to make any change in these rules, all miners has to come an agreement. And that agreement will be about what a valid block and how the valid block will be added to the main blockchain. And that, if this happened, that's what the fork is. It's a new set of rules that allow the miners to validate the block and add it to the main blockchain. The main blockchain consensus was there are two things to take place. One is launching Segwit2x, meaning the block will be rearranged. You can say that the signature in the block will be removed, allowing for more transaction to take place in that particular block. Second thing is the block size will be times 2, hence 2x. Okay, the Bitcoin blockchain computer code is open source code. Any developers can have a copy of the code. The upcoming Segwit2x launch is also known as a hard fork. It is a new implementation of the Bitcoin software code. Allows miners to accept a new valid block on the blockchain by modifying the rules used to validate the transaction. So basically, it's a new implementation done by developers, allow the miners to accept a new rules to validate the block in order to add it to the main blockchain. It's as simple as that. This new implementation can be deployed with a clone of the entire Bitcoin blockchain history until the validation rules where it change. That's when it take place. That's when the split happened. That's when the fork exists. It will be deployed by a clone of the entire Bitcoin blockchain history until the time of the split. That's when the deployed happened. A user who holds right to coins on the Bitcoin blockchain before blockchain split automatically holds the identical right to the same coins after the split. So if you have one Bitcoin at the split, you will have the same one Bitcoin plus one new Segwit2x coin after the split. Okay, who is pushing for this new code? That is the question. And who will be benefit from that code? And that requires that you think out of the box and try to find out who is really behind that code and who is really the company that pushing that implementation, and what group it will be benefit from that change. I did a little research. There is few articles talking about that. The Segwit2x deal is being pushed through a company called DCG, Digital Currency Group. DCG company funded by MasterCard. And the CEO of DCG is an ex-investment banker. And the DCG board of directors and advisors is almost entirely made up of central bankers. So, if the MasterCard and central bankers behind the technology, behind the company, and the developer who developed the Segwit2x are very well known of developing a software to act as a middleman between the miners and the transaction. They are trying to validate the transaction for the miners to find out the bad blocks from the good blocks. Who does that? Who wants that? If the blockchain technology itself doing this process entirely without middleman, and there is a company trying to add a middleman in that process, that's mean they're trying to enforce a new rules. And I think Segwit2x is this new rules, and it is trying to take the power from the miner. It's trying to take over Bitcoin development from the core and then literally put it and give it to the central bankers and the MasterCard company. So, my own opinion, I am against Segwit2x, and I think Segwit2x will be is acting as a try to take over the main concept of decentralizing idea that created by Satoshi, and they are trying to put the power back in the hand of the central bank and the bankers. That's why I want you to be very careful in the next few days and try to be aware of what is the movement around the Bitcoin forks and what's happening in the market, and try to use your head thinking, not your emotion or your greed, and try to find out more about that fork. Please leave comments and leave questions. If you have more information, please share it with me. I would like to know more about Bitcoin forks and the developers and who involved. And thank you very much, and happy mining.